Waiver wire pitchers from the weekend, strap in because there are lots of names. We already spoke about Jack Flaherty, but what about Spencer Turnbull? He continues to pitch really well, this time against the White Sox. Great matchup, obviously. 7 shutout innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Luis Gil looked great against the Rays on Sunday, 5 2/3 innings, 1 unearned run, 9 strikeouts to 3 walks. Casey Mize has turned in back-to-back quality starts, this one at the Twins. Also a great matchup right now. 6 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts. Still not getting tons of whiffs, but all of a sudden it's a 2.95 ERA, a 1.22 whip for Casey Mize. Scott, how would you rank that group? Mize, Gil, and Turnbull. Throw Flaherty in there too.
Okay, well, Flaherty's easy number 1.
Okay.
After that, I don't think any are must roster.
Mm-hmm.
I would go Gil too, because I like the strikeouts most of all. But I will say, because we haven't brought this up for Luis Gil yet, I don't think when we've talked about him, he has issued 17 walks in 19 2/3 innings.
Yeah.
So it's like a 3 true outcomes pitcher. I don't know what his home run rate is like, but it's either walks or strikeouts with him. And there's been enough strikeouts to get excited about, but those walks, I think, are severely going to limit his impact potential in fantasy. But still, I would go Luis Gil behind Flaherty, and then Turnbull third. I'm intrigued by him, but I think he's the obvious odd man out when Taijuan Walker is ready to go, even though it shouldn't be. It should be Walker himself that's removed, but I don't think that's how it'll go. I think Turnbull will be removed. And then I'll go Casey Mize last. He's getting ground balls at a good rate that might allow him to sustain his recent success. But yeah, the lack of whiffs, it's an 8% swinging strike rate. And I'm always going to be skeptical of a pitcher that has a rate like that because it doesn't get much worse.
I will point out on Turnbull, who I actually... If there wasn't the looming specter of Taijuan Walker's return, I would absolutely rank ahead of Luis Gil because I think
Me too.
What Turnbull's done so far this season has been really interesting. The new sweeper especially seems to be a really good weapon for him. Rob Thompson, I think Taijuan Walker threw a bullpen session with the team this week, and then he's going to go back out on his rehab assignment, make at least one more rehab start. And it kind of sounded a little bit like if Spencer Turnbull wasn't pitching so well, Taijuan Walker might already be back. Mm-hmm. And it felt very pointed that it was at least one more rehab start when he's already made a couple and had the pitch count, reasonably high. His velocity in the bullpen session was down like 2 miles per hour from what I was reading. And Rob Thompson was asked whether it was clear that Turnbull would be going to the bullpen after Walker returns. He said, quote, "No, it's not clear cut." That's not exactly a denial, but it's not a denial. And it very much feels like we're hoping life finds a way somehow here.
And life finding a way could be Turnbull just imploding.
Right, yeah.
I'm not... Like, even if there wasn't the Taijuan Walker looming, I wouldn't say Turnbull is must add. But yeah, I agree. I would prefer him to Gil if not for that.
Waiver wire pitchers part 2. Jamison Tyone was solid in his debut against the Marlins. 5 innings, 1 run, 4 strikeouts. Tyler Anderson has gone 7 innings in 3 of 4 starts. He was at the Reds, 7 innings, 2 runs, 1 of those earned, 3 walks to 2 strikeouts. Clark Schmidt pitched well against the Tampa Bay Rays. 5 1/3, 1 run allowed, 7 strikeouts with 13 swinging strikes. And Yariel Rodriguez pitched pretty well at the Padres. Just not giving us length so far, but maybe that could come. 4 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts for Rodriguez. Chris, how would you rank this group? Rodriguez, Schmidt, Tyler Anderson, and Jamison Tyone.
What kind of timetable are you asking me to rank them on? Because if it's to start in week 5,
I think rest of season. I think rest of season is what we're normally going for here.
Yeah, I think rest of season it's Rodriguez.
Easily.
Even though I think he's unlikely to be super useful in the near term, especially in head-to-head points leagues. I actually think the way he's pitching right now and how he's looked, I don't think throwing him out there in a roto league is a terrible idea. He's not going to get you any whiffs or wins because he's not throwing deep, but he's going to get strikeouts. I think the ratios are going to be pretty good. But Anderson, Tyone, Clark Schmidt, like I tried to find reasons to be optimistic about all of them, and I don't really see. You could throw Alec Marsh in there, who I think we're going to talk about a little later. They all had good starts this week, but they all borrow a term from our pal Nick Pollock over at Pitcher List. They're all Tobies, is what he uses for a middling pitcher who has little upside, but a steady enough floor that may earn a spot on your roster for some stability. That's, I think, perfectly matches Tyler Anderson, Jamison Tyone, Clark
How
Schmidt.
did it come up with the term Toby?
It's a reference to Toby from The Office, that guy who goes to work every day and gets the job done, but he's super boring and you don't want to talk to him like ever.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say Yariel Rodriguez is the only one I care about from this group too. And in fact, I would rank him second. If we're including the previous group, Luis Heel and Spencer Turnbull, I would put him second in that group behind only Flaherty.
Mm-hmm. If I were to take my Rangers hat off right now and put on my my Homer hat, my Yankees hat, Clark Schmidt, we'll just point out it's a 12.7% swinging strike rate early in the season, and it's a great matchup this week against the Oakland A's. So if we were talking about the short term, it's so good for this week.
I will point out Schmidt has more strikeout upside than any of those other guys we mentioned here, and he's done a very good job against lefties so far.
He has more strikeout upside than Yariel Rodriguez?
Well, no, I mean Tyler Anderson and those guys.
Okay.
Sure. He's doing a really good job against lefties so far. That has always been an issue for him in his career. 862 OPS against lefties in his career compared to 670 mark against righties. That being said, there's nothing really in the pitch mix that suggests he's improved or has made tangible changes that make me buy the improvement. It's 37 plate appearances against lefties. So I tend to assume that Clark Schmidt is going to turn back into Clark Schmidt at some point.
Waiver wire pitchers part 3. Who is Mitchell Parker? I don't know. Hopefully one of you two do, because he was great against the Astros on Sunday. 7 shutout innings, 3 hits, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts with 12 swinging strikes on just 73 pitches. 24 years old, 6'4" lefty. Minor league career is not that promising, but he did get lots of strikeouts. A lot
of strikeouts, yeah.
He's at the Marlins this week, and it's obviously a very good matchup. Jose Soriano turned in a quality start at the Reds. 6 innings, 3 unearned runs, 7 strikeouts. And, we had Lance Brozdowski on the show on Friday, and he spoke about Soriano should throw his fastball less and use his curveball more. And that's exactly what he did in the start.
What he did. It's like he was listening.
Yeah, it's great. And he's 9% rostered. Jose Soriano. He's up against the Twins this week. It's a great matchup.
I added him to my sleeper pitchers.
Very nice.
For this week.
Michael Lorenzen turned in a quality start at the Braves on Sunday night. 6 innings, 3 runs, 7 strikeouts, 15 swinging strikes on 94 pitches. I thought slightly interesting there. And Alec Marsh pitched well against the Orioles. 5 2/3 shutout. 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts in that one. Scott, how are you ranking this group? Marsh, Lorenzen, Soriano, and Mitchell Parker.
Well, I think Soriano is the clear standout here for being only 9% rostered. I think that needs to go up, especially since he's relief pitcher eligible. And I like his matchup this week. Hearing how high Lance Brozdowski was on him was enough to win me over. I had my reservations, but the upside was pretty clear there for Soriano too. Yeah, great secondary stuff. More walks than I'd like to see, but it is kind of an Edward Cabrera situation as far as that goes. And I think Soriano could be shockingly good. So he's the clear number 1. And number 2, I guess the chalk answer would probably be Michael Lorenzen, but he is a Toby. He might be even less than a Toby. I don't know what less than a Toby is. We're just stealing pitcher list terminology here. It's okay. I think if I'm investing in anyone beyond Soriano, and it would only be in like those 15-team leagues, I did throw a couple bucks at Mitchell Parker because, yes, good strikeout history in the minors. I've written about him in the prospects report in the past because of that. What he did in this start was interesting because he threw a splitter. So he had 12 whiffs on 73 pitches. 7 were on the splitter, which he threw 25% of the time. He threw the splitter only 6% of the time in his first start. He threw it only 7% of the time at AAA. So he suddenly just broke it out and threw it a ton. And a change in approach like that for a pitcher who already has something to hang his hat on, it could be a difference maker. I'm not saying I'm optimistic about Mitchell Parker, but compared to these other choices here who've mostly failed us in the past, I think I might take a shot on him if there were a lack of alternatives.